824.
This is art. Art, artificial, subtitle K-pop, coming from BBC News, hashtag VerseTV A24A, and kinda curated A24, subtitle hashtag prowess. At tonight's conversation, hashtag VerseTV A24B, and underrated hype. TV A24, there's a theme here. A24, Meet Me on the Moon Live by Phyllis Hyman from her album Prime of My Life, released circa 1991. And we got this recording from Instagram actually, and this is from at I am Yodi Joseph. Hashtag VerseTV A24C. All right. Hashtag VerseTV family. The lighting is a lot. I am Aaron Mack. Happy to be with you all. Yes, thank you all so very much. Sticking with hashtag VerseTV. We're doing this, y'all. Yes. And all of that stuff is all coming up this week on hashtag VerseTV A24, and it is our 272nd full week of hashtag VerseTV. We're tracking both of them just for kicks. But yes, and welcome. Now, for the random question. I have it right here. You see it? What was a situation that you initially thought was terrible, but ended up being a blessing in disguise? I think I answered that before, so I'm gonna press one more thing because, especially because I can't think of it right now, but I know I did that one before. What is your favorite thing to do when no one's looking? Ooh, when no one's looking. Um, and this is something that I used to do a lot. Huh. The when no one's looking part's kind of unfortunate. I would sing. I mean, for crying out loud, my minor in college, I am a classical voice minor, and I would sing a lot. And the story I always explain is one, your 20s are precious. Treat them as such. And I know it's like when you're in your 20s, it's like, uh, this thing is so long. And especially for me, like, because most of my friends were older than me. That's just sort of what it was. It's like, oh, I have to be the young guy so long. But your 20s are actually really important, especially if you're talking about art artificial, if you're looking to seriously pursue anything artistic, even as a side thing, but doing it seriously, your 20s are important. And I used to sing a lot, but I would always be kind of shy to sing around people often. And I remember in high school. Oh, wow. So I have enough minutes. I think. Yeah, I do. in high school, I would you know, high school, junior high, particularly. Well, actually, even when I lived in Middletown, I would sing. I used to, I would always feel badly for people who didn't have something that they could do whenever they just need to re-energize themselves. And for me, even when I was a kid, singing was that thing. And when people would hear me sing, because my voice became deep early on, I guess, and especially when it comes to male singers, and we even talked about this kind of on the show, how we give so many props to singers who have the higher voices. But what about us with the lower voices? You know, like just because our voice might be lower doesn't mean we have no talent. You know, I saw actually a clip of Mariah Carey in the early days talking about how she's like, well, I mean, I guess honestly, my vocal range, I'm like an alto because her mom is an alto. She's like, I'm like an alto, but I enjoy experimenting with the higher part of my voice, which is something that I remember learning from my vocal coach in college. And it sounds like I'm brag in college. Anyway, but she explained that often people with the lower voices are able to actually, for whatever reason, have a large range and also do the higher notes as well. So people will be like, Mariah Carey is the soprano. Do you hear how high she can get? It's like, she's an alto, but she's an alto with a lot of range. It's like I'm a bass, and when I baritone bass, and when I first graduated, I remember in my singing group, I I had a very wide vocal range, and I would do the super high notes as well. And that's just because those of us with the deeper voices, we off something about the vocal cords or whatever, we're able to stretch them higher as well. As far as the thing that I do in private is singing. I don't do it as much now that I'm in an apartment, but when after I released my debut album, and nobody, and I mean nobody, I'm not going to say that because a couple of people did, but a couple, a precious, valuable, beloved couple downloaded my album. And I was like, oh, I thought that after all of these years of wishing and hoping that when I finally released something, whatever it was, it would be a hit. And it wasn't. It's, I will say my second album, sophomore release, that was very much a labor of love in that I didn't really care at all about who downloaded or not or whatever. And both of those albums were done post MS diagnosis. So that's something worth sharing with people to sort of inspire because yes, we can. My song, none other than 2017's My Darling by Tiwa Savage off of her Red, her Red album. And I tell you to tell you all the truth, that video would make me cry every single time I play it. And I would often it's just one of those videos that I feel emotions with, and sometimes I would just watch the video just to feel those emotions because in the video, yeah, sh- mm, she is such a beautiful, and they were a beautiful couple, yes. And the video starts off with T.Y. Savage meeting him at like a club or whatever, and uh, lounge or something. And he wooed her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. I love, oh my gosh, yes." And he wooed her, and next thing you know, they're actually together. And then in another scene, you see him carry her. Um, no, he was like, "Cover your eyes," and they went someplace. He was like, "Cover your eyes," and she covered her eyes, and he was like, "Turn around," and he set up the cathedral in such a beautiful way, and he was like, "Marriage, oh yes," and she was like, "Oh my." See, I'm starting to make myself emotional again. But she was like, "Oh my gosh," and she fainted. And he picked her up, and they crossed the threshold together, and they, it's music videos, so they speed through things. And next thing you know, you see them preparing for a child in the house, and she you see him in a military uniform, and you see her going to the door to get the letters from him that he would send her. This is wow. Okay. But to get the letters that he would send her, and you see her in her big beautiful dress, and she would go walk to the door and get the letter, and oh, thank you, postman. Thank you. Yes, it's from my man. And one time, mm, she went to the door, and yeah, this video gets me every time. She went to the door, and you all can guess, probably, possibly, but she went to the door, and it was military people, and she was like, I thought you were the postman. Why are you here?" Because her husband, husband had gone off to war because he's in the military. And they came to her door, and she opened the door, and she was like, and then you see the guy go, and she just faints. And you see, I don't have time to go into all of this. I thought I would, but I will say this very quickly. And he came to her in her tears on the floor as a ghost. And it's like he reached out to touch her, and he was like, and it was just such an emotional moment and such a well done video. Again, T.Y. Savage. And I remember, and I particularly connect this because I used to share these videos all the time of like somebody coming home from the military, and like a child and their parent being like, "Oh my gosh, look, daddy's home or mommy's home, yay!" And or a husband and a wife, or husband and a husband, because we got rid of the "Don't Say Gay" bill, but coming home and being all excited to see their partner and like, yay. And I would always share that because I'd be like, "This is so beautiful." And then I saw somebody post, they were like, that is problematic to just share stuff like that because it's not. a happy situation for everybody. And what you're doing when you post and repost such videos, like, yay, it's a reminder for some that, hey, my person, for me, didn't make it home. And I love how that noise happened. I live in the ghetto. I do. Actually, I'm kidding. I live in what was the ghetto, but now they're really converting it. So it's actually really nice now. Anyway, oh my gosh. But it's like, what about the people who don't have their person come home? And seeing that repost of yours is just an ever present reminder that they didn't make it home. It's like you're throwing it in their face. So now I'm kind of on the fence, cautious about reposting such videos. Because going back to TY Savage, it's like, yeah, mm, like, share, subscribe, share again, and don't forget to click like. Thank you.
Art. Artificial. Subtitle hashtag K-pop, BBC News, hashtag VerseTV A24A. Will K-pop's AI experiment pay off? Image source Getty Images. Article information author Megan Lawton. Role Business Reporter. 11 July 2024 updated 16 July 2024. There's an issue dividing K-pop fans right now. Artificial intelligence. Several of the genre's biggest stars have now experimented with the technology to create music videos and produce songs, including boy band 17. Last year, the South Korean group sold around 16 million albums, making them one of the most successful K-pop acts in history. But it's their most recent album and single, Maestro, that's got people talking. The music video features an AI-generated scene, and at the launch of the album in Seoul, one of the band members, Woozy, he was experimenting with AI when making music. We practiced making songs with AI as we want to develop along with technology rather than complain about it, he said. This is a technological development that we have to leverage, not just be dissatisfied with. I practiced using AI and tried to look for the pros and cons. However, Woozy has since said on Instagram that all of Seventeen's music is written and composed by human creators. Article continues below.
Continues below. So it's all written by human creators, not artificial intelligence. It's so interesting if that's going to be the next thing that you're going to have to start seeing. Like, oh no, but this song actually was made by actual humans, not all those other songs on the countdown, but this song was actually made by actual humans. So, yes. Yeah, no, we didn't use AI for that. Now, I will say, yes, it's only a matter of time, possibly, probably, until we get the all in 1 week world tour where we have the AI hologram images of artists performing around the globe all in one day. Everybody will get to go to the concert. I don't know how long that I just said that and I didn't write it in my notes because I hearing myself say it right now, I'm like, I don't know how long that would last, though. I think it'll be cool. It would be like, oh wow, we can all see AI, whatever, performing all at the same time around the globe. And I think that'll work for a little while, maybe even a generation. Maybe yes, maybe no. But after the novelty wears off, don't I don't know. I don't know. Because I'm sure there are people who said, I'm sure there are Blockbuster representatives who said, "Oh, don't worry. Netflix isn't gonna last. They're gonna go by the wayside, and we'll be back to charging $100 for a $17 tape that was late." Anyway, so yeah, it's like once that wears off, oh well. Now, as far as 17 and that song, I will say that was a good song. I did enjoy it. And as far as their music video, like we used a piece of AI in our music video. The music video was pretty much just a 1990 Hype Williams video, but that's okay. Shout out to Hype Williams, and it's fine. And yeah, I do agree with Woozy in that we need to grow with AI, not see it as a competition, not try to beat it and stuff like that, but work with AI and also read the book Scary Smart by Mo Gaudat. It's a great book, great information on AI and where things are going. Anyway, so yes, we need to learn how to work with AI. Yeah. And later in the article, okay, I'm gonna close this window. Thanks. Okay. So later in the article, somebody mentioned, and now I'm just in this airless box, but it's okay. Somebody mentioned how, well, AI can only do but so much because people like hearing songs written by other humans with human experiences. AI can learn things, FYI. And part of what that person said was to that I thought like, oh yeah, because AI is only working with what is already in the world right now. And that's true to an extent because AI can learn and AI is learning now. So it's like, we can't just say, oh, well, it's not gonna work because it's not gonna be able to make things sound like real human beings. And also to that, I'll say having power is something else, right? Because those who have I've got the power, have power and influence can easily adjust the thinking of or train the thinking of the music buying public to want whatever those at the top want them to want, because it's interesting how the mind works. I remember years ago, and I was talking about this with a friend of mine, but years ago, I heard it is said that once you hear a song 12 times, you will like it. 12 times. So even if you didn't like it at first, once you get to that 12th time, you'll like it. And that'll be a part of training us that, well, we normally like humans to write songs, but oh, this song actually does sound a little cool. And I remember I was out with a friend of mine this weekend, and I'm not throwing her under the bus because she's fabulous. Ariana Grande's song that I actually love, although for me it took 2 listens. The first listen, I did not like it at all, but listening to it within the context of the album, I actually now love it. But yes, and especially because I say it so much. Yes, and you know, I was talking with a friend of mine, and I remember I played that for him early because I know he's an Ariana Grande fan, right? And I was like, I know you love this song, don't you? And he was like, honestly, no, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. And then I asked him about it again this past weekend, and he was like, actually, yeah, it is starting to grow on me. I don't know what it is, but it's something about the music or the melody or something that's grabbing me now. And it's like that's the kind of stuff that people behind the scenes actually study about people, and they can direct people to like what they want people to like. There's so much to that, and that's just true. I will say, uh, K-pop today is different. It's different from the old K-pop that I remember when I was in my 20s. And then I said that and I wrote that, and then I sort of reread it and I was like, but wait a minute, do I kind of sound like that old person who's like, oh, music is just not what it used to be? I used to love those because K-pop did have this before. Well, at least the K-pop that I started with. Girls' generation, racing. Anyway, Girls' Generation. They would have like dance synthesizers in their music. And now it kind of just listening to this Maestro by 17, it's like it kind of just feels like it's called K-pop simply because they're Korean and they're singing pop, but that's it. But I'm like, but maybe it's because when Girls' Generation was new, I was in my 20s. So the music industry was still making music for me at that time. But now I'm in my 40s. I can't lie, I'm 41. And it's like, maybe that's just because the music is just not for me. I do like that song though. Maestro by the group 17 is a nice song. I did enjoy it. Oh, I will say this random story really quickly. As far as K-pop is concerned, I remember I avoided K-pop very much for a time because I remember this dude in college that I went on a date with, and he was I was because I love music and I love asking people about music and discussing music with people. I'm a one-trick pony like that. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. I'm a multi-trick. Anyway, but I was talking with him about music, and he was like, "Look, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't listen to American music. I just don't. It's not good. I listen to K-pop. K-pop is so good. K-pop is where it's at. That is what you need to listen to, sir." And I just remember thinking he sounded so arrogant talking like that. Like it sort of had me like, oh no, actually, I don't want to listen to K-pop. And it's because of you. Sorry. But I will quickly say, as far as K-pop, as I grew to love it later on in my, I think I first came across it in my mid 20s. And it K-pop groups often have so many members. It is like they're like choirs. I remember girls' generation, it was nine of them, was or is nine of them. And I was like, a group of nine? That is insane. Like, people have a hard enough time promoting a group of four. And a friend of mine told me about that in college too, but that's another story. But it's like nine women in this group. That's a lot. But I love your music, so I guess I don't really care. And as far as the group 17, would you care to guess how many people are in the K pop group 17? 13. It's like, oh my gosh, like these are like little choirs that perform, but it's whatever. It's cool, you know? It's cool. Like, share, subscribe, share again, and don't forget to click like. Thank you. All right.
Hashtag kinda curated, A24, subtitle hashtag prowess, at tonight's conversation, hashtag First TV A24B. From 1 to 10, how would you rate your sexual prowess? And why?
I don't know. I would say like now, bear in mind, people, I select these are I just answered the questions on the cards and I randomly shuffled through it and stuff like that. And it, anyway, anyway, I have a lot to say that I'm not gonna say. But I will say back to the card, right? Because I was gonna talk about something totally different. Back to the card, I don't know. I guess like a five or a four or whatever, and or less. And interestingly enough, this was something else that I just discussed this past weekend. And how from the age of 19 up to 23, 23. Give me a moment, y'all. So, yes, oh my gosh, I'm just connecting this because, oh, I'll share this and I have my thoughts on it, but you all can share whatever. Anyway, 23. From 19 to 23, I call those my thought sexual exploration days. But I was really just looking for love in all the wrong bedrooms. And that's what I remember that uh, video that they used to sell talk about college girls gone wild. I was a college boy gone wild. And remember, I was so gay. Oh my gosh. And I denied it to myself. But I remember the one time that I saw like college boys gone wild when I was a kid, because that was popular before I even reached college age. But when I was like high school, maybe even junior high or before. But I remember when I saw, oh, they have guys gone wild. I I would be interested in seeing that, but whatever. Anyway, as far as my from 19 to 23, that was my sexual exploration looking for love in all the wrong bedroom days. And I remember at 23, my mom did pass away when I was 23. or the year that I turned 23, because technically I was still 22. I remember when I was 23, which is right after graduation. I graduated at 22, but technically I turned 23 the next month. And I remember I was still sort of coming back out of my exploration days, kind of. And I remember I met this dude, and he won't remember me, but in Remington, Baltimore. And I just remember like that was the one and only time I went to Remington. I would pass it leaving work, but that was it. Anyway, I went to see him, and I remember we were on the bed. I know. These are things that I didn't know then, but I know now. We were on the bed. He was on top of me, and he was like, "So, can I stick it in?" And I was like, "No, please, let's not." And he was like, "But are you sure? Like, maybe just the tip?" He did something like that, and I was like, no, please. And he was like, get out of this house." Actually, because he did plead a little bit. He was like, "Please, just the tip." And I was like, "No." And he was like, get out of this house." And I did. And that was my first time realizing, oh, wait a minute. You don't have to do every single thing that the guy tells you to do when you're with him. Sometimes, if you want or need to do another thing, you can. You have that option. And I left and it was fine. Kind of like that dude years ago who was like, "You want to come upstairs and suck my dick?" And I was like, no, thank you." And he was like, "All right." So you you can say no. I did not know that. I did not. And I did do in my looking for love in all the wrong bedrooms days, I would engage in some things that were I don't even need to tell you all, but suffice it to say, the lesson I learned with him at 23 was, you know what? I can tell a dude no and leave, and it's going to be okay. It will be. Yes. And for anybody out there who hasn't learned that yet, it will be okay. Oh, and that's so complicated because some people are violently evil. Like former First Lady Michelle Obama. Oh, did you all hear? Our current Vice President and eighth Howard University graduate is looking at the presidency. Oh my gosh. Like, anyway, oh my gosh. Vice President Kamala Harris being President Kamala Harris. Be still. Anyway, but yes, pitter patter, slow down. Go back to a regular rhythm. Anyway, yes, so you can say no, just be safe. And I learned that at 23, and then I decided, you know what? I'm not gonna keep dealing with a bunch of dudes looking for love in all the wrong places. I'm gonna bedrooms. I'm going to tell them up front, hey, I'm not all about sex. That's just not me. And I had my prude days from the age of 23 to 32. And at the age of 32, That's when I met a dude who I thought we were going to do something different that we did not do. And that works out fine, and we're friends. We are friends. You know who you are. And mm, yeah, I stopped being a prude with him, and because I thought things, you guys. I did. We did. So, I will say, as far as my prude days, I have friends who are older than me and friends who are younger than me who have had more physical interactions than I. And that's okay. That is okay. Because we can be different. It's okay. Yeah. I'm cool with being who I am. I am me. And the song that I gave a million points for last week to those who voted in the comments, nobody. I'm kidding. Somebody might have, but is Ashley Simpson's song Pieces of Me from her album. I believe the title of the album was I Am Me, or it might have been her second album. Anyway, she actually had a couple of songs that I really enjoyed. And I particularly really enjoyed Jessica Simpson's album, her sister. Again, I was in my 20s at that time. So the music industry was working for making stuff that I would like. And I did. Anyway, I am me. Like, share, subscribe, share again, and please do not forget to click like. Thank you.
Hashtag underrated hype TV 824 Meet Me on the Moon live Phyllis Hyman Prime of My Life circa 1991 at I am Yodi Joseph hashtag Verse TV 824C.
Yes, we love that song. And art is subjective. And I personally apply that to gay to the extent that meeting my love on the moon, mm, it's like flying away, getting away from all the BS that's on the earth, meeting them on the moon so we can get away from all of it. Meet me on the moon. I feel your symphony. Yes. And that same ex that I referred to in the previous topic, he taught me in my early 30s. It took me a long time, y'all. He taught me in my early 30s not to care about what other people think. And it's like, mm, I largely don't. I do care about safety. But I don't care about what other people think. Some people can be violent, and that is scary, honestly. I still remember when I was in the car with that Uber driver who was telling me how that's another thing that'll get me emotional. I just felt it. But like I believe this he said that he believes that people should be able to kill gay people without retribution or anything. They should be able to just do it because gay people are wrong. That's what he said. And I was like, oh my gosh, get me out of this car, please. You know, but on the inside I was that way. On the outside I was like, oh, well, that's an interesting perspective. Hmm. That's not how I feel. I don't think that's the right way to feel. Okay. Get me out of this car. Okay. And why do you think that? Anyway. Um, but yeah, don't even want to have to. Right. Yes. Yes. Because while he did teach me, and I am forever grateful, he did teach me that it doesn't matter what other people think. Sometimes you just don't want to have to ignore what other people think. You don't want other people's negative thoughts to even be around you, or other people's less than positive thoughts to be around you. So, to the moon. Meet me on the moon. And considering it was 1991, well, it might have been written with gay in mind, but I don't know if that was the goal of the writers. Phyllis Hyman is a writer, and she has written some of her songs. This song was not written by Phyllis Hyman. She sings her butt off to it though, and she sings her butt off to everything. Clearly, the song might have been written for also because maybe it was written with multiple things in mind, but it might have been written for someone who passed, the survivors of someone who passed. I can connect a lot of stuff. And it's like my former mental health counselor who helped me feel better about my mom having passed away when she referenced quantum physics and how energy never dies. And in this song, Phyllis Hyman sings, oh, I feel your symphony, so strong and so pure. It echoes all through me. I am so sure. And yes, yes, my mom is in me. I am so sure. And people who hate on gays, stop, stop. Because heteros, y'all are so lucky being able. Anyway, I'm not going to go there, but I will say there is a magic to being able to pass on yourself to another. I remember my barber who was like, Aaron, you should have, when he was telling me about the woman I say is the woman I would have married if I was hetero. He was like, Aaron, you should have reproduced with her, not told her about your sexuality, and then after you reproduce with her, then tell her about your sexuality and let the chips fall where they may. And I was like, I didn't want to be dishonest, you know? And he was like, but the world needs another you. So that's a thing. I do believe in adoption. I do. I strongly believe in adoption. And that's something that I do want us to do. Additionally, before I say way more than I need to, I will say, yeah, I remember my mom always used to tell me, she's like, Aaron, you are your mother's son. And I feel that particularly now. Well, not particularly now, because I felt it back then, but I also feel it now, particularly in sometimes I'll pop out with a SAT word and it's like, oh, wow, okay. And I realize that's my mom speaking through me because my mom used to have an exceptional vocabulary. Exceptional. She would sleep with the dictionary under her bed for easy access whenever if she got the urge to look up a word. And I got that from my mom too. The difference is I look it up on the phone, but I look stuff up like I have no problem looking things up. And that is my mom and me. Positive self affirmation time. Yay. Aaron, you are a wonderful winner. Yes, you are. Yes. Aaron, you are a beautiful catch. Yes, you are. Aaron, you are intelligent and practical. Yes, you are. You are working on growing stronger. Yes, you are. You are working on it and you are. I actually went to the gym this morning and yeah, and at the gym I pushed my little well it's not little, but the sled up a bit, down a bit, sat in my wheelchair. Ooh, sat in my wheeled chair, I aka my rollator walker, and caught church and then left the gym and blah blah blah. Anyway, I love you, Aaron. You are wonderful and worthy of all the wonderful. Talk to you later. Hashtag Verse TV family. Peace. Hashtag versetv.com. Stay blessed.